Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. I am holding Alistair Wonderland from Ever After High, and he will be the victim for this custom. I'm actually going to be rerouting this for Naruto, so I'm taking my rerouting tool and also some yarn. And over here I am using a really pale blonde and also a golden blonde. For the front and also the perimeter of his head, I completely cover it with the yarn one by one, but towards the middle and kind of inside the head, I just fill it here and there. I kind of do it sporadically. I don't really fill up the entire thing because then it would just create such a thick piece of hair and it's going to be harder to kind of style. So you want it to be a little thinner in the back since the yarns are very thick and they create such bulk. So you don't want that bulkiness in the back of his head. So I grew up watching Naruto and I love the anime so much. I know the manga is much better, but hey, I want some of them moving. I want the motions of it all. So I know that his hair is yellow, but I love the natural blonde look on him a lot more, especially this kind of bleach blonde look. I don't know, I'm just really obsessed. That's why I kind of did that for my Applejack custom, and I'm doing that for my Naruto custom. So here we are, completely done, and as you can see, the edges are completely filled, but the inside I've left some spaces here and there, just so that it doesn't make it too bulky and too thick. So yeah. After that, I'm just gonna go ahead and take my Faber glue, and we're gonna glue inside of the head. This will actually prevent the yarns from coming out. So I just squeeze it in there and make sure it's a good amount, not too low and not too much, and then you just softly kind of squish it around and make sure everything is evenly covered. So after that's dry, I take my plastic pet brush and I detangle the yarns first, starting from the end. So usually I do this first to keep the length of the yarn, so I have no idea why I did it since we don't need this length, but I guess it's just a force of habit. So after that, I take my metal pet brush, and this one is a little more hardcore because it actually makes the hair a little more fine, and I just do this all around his head. So after that, I just go ahead and take it in parts, and I take my straightener to make sure that every single part is straightened. I really do apologize that it took me a long time to make Naruto. I've had his costume here for a while, so I really had no excuse. I guess the only excuse is that I've been working on other dolls. I was supposed to make Naruto in the start of this year, but I guess it just fell through, and I just started working on other dolls. So yeah, I mean, at least we have him now. Now we have this Super Saiyan type of hairstyle, or it's also very troll-like. And it's also very like hair commercially. As you can see, it's like, you know, whipping back and forth. Now we can go ahead and give him a good trim. As you can see, it's very silky too, and the blend of colors is immaculate. So I just take my scissors and I give him a really shocking trim. And as you can see, it was kind of angled as well because I want the back to be shorter. And then I just take this razor and I razor cut his hair because I really don't like the blunt cuts on these types of dolls. I want them to be really spiky and kind of like I want them to be thinner in the end. So as you can see over here, I'm really thinning it out and making sure that there's no bulk in the hairstyle. But please be careful when you're using the razor. It is very dangerous, so adult supervision is advised. But I just do this on his entire head, and I make sure the top part is the perfect part, pretty much, because that is the visible part. And also whenever I'm razor cutting, I make sure that the hair is wet. It's just a little more cleaner. You don't have like particles of the yarn flying in your face, getting in your eye. So just make sure that the hair is wet, and it's a little more smoother too. And after it dries, we are finally done with his hair. And as usual, I take off the factory paint with acetone or nail polish remover. They're pretty much the same, but just in case no one knows. After spraying his face with 3 coats of MSC, I go ahead and sketch out his features with a light brown watercolor pencil. I really wanted to keep the anime kind of aspect to him, and I keep looking at reference photos and he does not have any eyelids. So I guess we're not gonna give him eyelids. I've never really done that before. I've always given my dolls some sort of eyelid. But for Naruto, like literally any picture that I've seen of him, it was pretty consistent that he did not have any eyelids. So yeah, and I'm also going to give him a big smile. I'm just using this white watercolor pencil to kind of sketch out the teeth part of his mouth. I also go ahead and add the scleras on the first layer, just so that we can make it really opaque later. And we also add his whiskers. You cannot forget whiskers. It's not Naruto without his whiskers. So pretty much after I have everything sketched out, I go over it with more colors just to make everything more intense. And I think, in theory, I go over it 5 times with each color, like for the eyeliner, for the whiskers, for the teeth, for the eyes, for the eyebrows. I layer it 5 times, I think, or more than that, depending on the color scheme or depending on the details. Or if I want to make it really sharp. Usually for like eyeliners, I do it 5 times. So it really all just depends, but you have to layer the lines and the colors to make him really pop. So like I said, Naruto was one of my favorite animes growing up, and you know, it's so shocking that it's kind of still going on with Boruto. But before, I remember not really liking Naruto as a character. I think I loved the Naruto series a lot more when they actually grew up, because there's hope that they'll be better. But Naruto like grew and matured in such a great way too, so I was like, oh my gosh, I love him. It kind of sucks because all of my favorite characters in the anime were kind of like, you know, I guess they didn't have a lot of airtime or screen time. Like, if you guys don't know, my favorite is Yamanaka Ino, which is Sakura's rival, and I also really love Tenten. And in the games, like in the PS2 games, they were like amazing. They were like beast in that game. Well, at least for me. I love using, you know, Ino and also Tenten in the Naruto in the PS2 version, just because they have a lot of power and the game developers really gave love to them. But in the anime, or apparently in the manga, they're not really that loved. It's kind of unfortunate. So after rendering and detailing the eyes, I go ahead and add the catch lights to the eyes, and I've been adding like 3 catch lights. I do 1 big dot, 1 small dot, and then 2 lines. So I guess it just makes it more anime looking. And over here I am adding gloss to the shiny parts, and I try not to add gloss to the black parts or the darker areas of the eye, because in some lighting it's so much harder because you can actually see the reflection, which is what you want, but not for the black part. So it just makes it a little more harder to photograph and also take photos of. For his Konoha headband, I'm just using this fun foam that we will be spraying in silver. So for this one, I just made sure that the spray was metallic, and you can get that anywhere really, like Walmart or Target. Just make sure it's metallic silver. And I just go ahead and take my acrylic paint and a tiny brush, and I make sure I draw the Konoha or Leaf Village symbol. And I just go ahead and glue that onto a pleather material or even a ribbon, and we just tie it around Naruto's head. For the sandals, I'm actually going to be creating it, and I'm using this pleather material, and I have this pattern that we will be using, and this is actually a pattern from the Ever After High feet, and I think it's pretty much bulletproof. So I'll just cut this again on the opposite direction for the other foot. But as you can see, I'm just cutting everything out first, and I will be laying it out, and I will stitch it in the back just to make sure that it is quite fitted. So as you can see over here, I'm actually stitching the reverse side of the pleather just so that I can make it more kind of like overlapping and it's a little more cleaner. And I just take it off and I reverse it again to show the good side, and then I just go ahead and glue it onto the sole. Naruto actually has raised detailings onto his sandals, so I'm just taking this fun foam and I'm using that as the raised details, kind of like panels onto his shoes. Obviously it is yellow, so we will be painting everything in black. Before we assemble the sandals, I actually have to put his pants on first. So for his costume, the lovely Woods created this costume for me. I did not create it, obviously. But it's such an amazing craftsmanship. Like, everything is so detailed. It's incredible. So thank you to Lovely Woods, and I'll link her down below. So I just sew his sandals in the back with needle and thread, just to make it really fitted, and this is when I add the fun foams to his sandals. And now we're done with the sandals! I'm actually really shocked that Lovely Woods included this mesh top for Naruto. I did not request it, but they included it anyway, and I was like really shocked when it came in the mail. I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect! I love Naruto with his mesh shirt. So as you can see, I just finished it up with his holster just to add more details, and we are pretty much done with Naruto. Wow, that was a plot twist. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye!